A blinding flash tore through the darkness of space, followed by a shockwave that rippled across the void. The research station Helios 7, once humanity's greatest hope, was now nothing more than fragments of metal and frozen bodies drifting through the cold emptiness. In the observation deck of the Galactic Alliance flagship Intrepid Admiral Cora Voss watched the explosion with steel-gray eyes that reflected the distant flames. Her weathered face remained impassive, but her knuckles turned white as she gripped the railing. "How many?" she asked, her voice barely audible. Commander Elias Chen checked his datapad, his young face ashen. 843 scientists, sir. 34 military personnel. No survivors detected. Cora closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, they burned with cold fury. And Dr. Evelyn Reyes? No sign of her transport, Admiral, Chen replied. Intelligence suggests she left the station approximately 6 hours before detonation. Cora turned away from the viewport, her movements deliberate and controlled. The bridge crew watched her with a mixture of fear and anticipation. "Find her," she commanded, "whatever it takes." The woman who saved 1 billion lives just took 877. I want to know why. 3 weeks earlier, Dr. Evelyn Reyes stood in her private laboratory aboard Helios 7, staring at the holographic projection hovering before her. Lines of genetic code scrolled past, glowing blue in the dimly lit room. She brushed a strand of silver-streaked black hair from her face, dark eyes narrowed in concentration. "Tia, run simulation X42 again," she said. "Adjust the viral protein cleavage rate by 0.03. "Running simulation," responded the AI assistant, its voice smooth and melodic. "This will take approximately 11 minutes. Evelyn sighed and stretched, feeling the tension in her shoulders. At 53, she still worked with the intensity of someone half her age, often forgetting to eat or sleep when deep in research. The station's artificial gravity felt particularly heavy today. "Dr. Reyes." The lab door slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a young woman in a lab coat. Dr. Mai Wang, her most promising student, entered hesitantly. "You've been in here for 19 hours straight. The director asked me to check on you." Evelyn smiled tiredly. "Just one more simulation, May. I'm close to something important." Mai approached the hologram, her eyes widening as she scanned the data. "This is the Thanatos strain, isn't it? But these modifications..." Her voice trailed off. "What exactly are you doing?" Before Evelyn could answer, her private communication device chimed. The caller ID made her freeze. "I need to take this," she said, suddenly tense. "Please give me the room." After May left, Evelyn activated the secure channel. The hologram of a man appeared, silver-haired, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, his face bearing the subtle signs of expensive rejuvenation treatments. "Director Harlow," she acknowledged coolly. "Evelyn," he replied with a thin smile that never reached his eyes. "The board has reviewed your latest report on Project Lazarus, and they've decided to move forward with Phase 3. The words hung in the air between them. Evelyn's throat tightened. "That's not possible," she said carefully. "The preliminary tests show severe neurological side effects. We need at least another year of research before human trials." Harlow's expression hardened. "The decision is final. The military contracts have been signed. Deployment begins next month." "You can't do this." Evelyn's voice rose. "The bacterial vector isn't stable. Yes, it enhances neural regeneration, but the cognitive deterioration is an acceptable risk." Harlow cut in. "Think of the soldiers who will walk again, Dr. Reyes. Think of the funding that will keep your other projects alive." "You mean funding for your shareholders," she countered bitterly. "This was never about healing." Harlow's smile disappeared entirely. "I'd remind you of your contractual obligations, Doctor. Your work belongs to Helix Biotech. Your opinions on its application are irrelevant." The transmission ended abruptly, Leaving Evelyn alone in the suddenly suffocating laboratory, she looked back at the hologram where her life's work, a bacterial strain designed to repair damaged nerve tissue, was being twisted into something monstrous. Simulation complete, announced Tia. Results show 94% probability of irreversible neural degradation after initial regeneration phase. Evelyn stared at the red warning indicators flashing across the projection. "What have I done?" she whispered to the empty room. In the crowded refugee sector of Titan Colony, Zayn Malik pushed through the throng of people waiting outside the medical clinic. At 17, he was tall and lanky, with skin the color of burnished copper and eyes that held the wariness of someone who had seen too much. "Make way," he shouted, supporting his sister who leaned heavily against him. "She needs help." 14-year-old Aisha's face was flushed with fever, her breathing labored. The neural implant at the base of her skull, a cheap model required for all refugees to access the colony's systems, glowed an angry red at the connection point. A security droid hovered closer. "Please maintain your position in line. Medical services will be provided in order of arrival." "She'll die before then," Zayn protested, desperation in his voice. The commotion drew the attention of a woman standing near the clinic entrance. She wore nondescript clothing, but something about her bearing made the crowd part as she approached. "What's happening here?" she asked, her voice carrying authority despite its softness. "My sister," Zayn explained frantically. "Her neural implant is malfunctioning. She can't breathe properly." The woman studied Aisha with experienced eyes, then reached into her bag and produced a small medical scanner. The security droid moved forward, mechanical arms extending. "Civilian medical equipment is prohibited in this sector," it intoned. The woman hardly glanced at the droid as she pressed something on her wrist. The machine suddenly froze, its lights flickering out. "Help me get her inside," she told Zayn, already moving toward the clinic. Once inside a treatment room, the woman worked swiftly, injecting Aisha with something that immediately eased her breathing. With practiced precision, she manipulated the area around the implant, eventually extracting a small device that she crushed between her fingers. "Tracking parasite," she explained tersely. "Military grade. Someone wanted to monitor your sister very badly." As Aisha's condition stabilized, Zayn studied the woman more carefully. Recognition dawned slowly. "You're her," he whispered. "Dr. Reyes, the one who cured the Red Plague." She froze, then slowly turned to face him. "That name doesn't exist anymore." "You saved my parents during the outbreak on Mars," Zayn continued, undeterred, "before they died in the war. Everyone says you're dead too, after the Helios station exploded. Perhaps I am." Her expression softened slightly as she looked at Aisha. "Your sister will recover fully. The implant was defective. Deliberately so, I suspect." "Why would you help us?" Zayn asked. Evelyn gathered her equipment, her movements efficient. "Because I still remember what it means to be a healer." She paused at the door. "Even if others have forgotten." Before she could leave, alarms blared throughout the clinic. Outside, the heavy thud of military boots echoed in the corridor. "Colonial security," a voice shouted. "This facility is now under lockdown." Evelyn's face hardened. She glanced around the room, quickly assessing escape routes. "They're not here for you," Zayn said, understanding immediately. "They're after all refugees with the new implants." He hesitated, then added, "I know a way out, but you'll have to take us with you." For a moment, Evelyn said nothing, conflict clear on her face. Then she nodded sharply. "Lead the way." Part 2. The Hunted. The maintenance tunnel smelled of rust and recycled air, narrow enough that they had to move in single file. Zayn led the way, supporting Aisha, while Evelyn brought up the rear, constantly checking for pursuers. "How much farther?" Evelyn whispered, her breath visible in the cold air. "Almost there," Zayn replied. "There's a service bay that connects to the docking area. My friend works there. He can help us." The distant sound of boots made them freeze. Evelyn pressed against the wall, pulling a small device from her pocket. She twisted it, and a soft electromagnetic pulse rippled outward, temporarily disabling any nearby surveillance. "Why are they after you?" Zane asked as they resumed moving. Evelyn's laugh was brittle. "Because I know too much. Because I built something that could heal, and powerful people turned it into a weapon." She helped Aisha climb over a fallen ventilation panel. "And because I destroyed my research before they could get their hands on all of it." They emerged into a cavernous hangar where cargo ships were being loaded with supplies. Workers moved about, their faces hidden behind breath masks in the thin atmosphere. Zane led them to a young man checking inventory on a beat-up freighter. Recognition flashed in the man's eyes when he saw them. "These are the passengers I mentioned," Zane told him quietly. "We need transport off-station, Jules. No questions asked." Jules eyed Evelyn with suspicion. "That'll cost extra. Military's offering rewards for unregistered travelers." "I can pay," Evelyn said, producing a chip from inside her jacket. Jules scanned it, his eyes widening at the amount displayed. "Departure in 30 minutes. Storage compartment 3. Don't make a sound until we break Admo." As Jules walked away, Aisha swayed suddenly, clutching her head. "What's wrong?" Zane asked, alarmed. "Voices," she whispered. "I can hear them, arguing." "So many voices." Evelyn's expression darkened. She examined Aisha's implant site again, this time more thoroughly. "Impossible," she murmured. "Unless they've already started deployment." "What are you talking about?" Zane demanded. "The neural enhancer I developed, Project Lazarus. It was designed to repair damaged neural pathways, but with modifications." She looked grim. "It could create new ones, connect minds that were never meant to be connected." Aisha's eyes flew open, suddenly alert. "They're coming. They know we're here." As if on cue, the hangar doors slammed shut. Armed soldiers in Galactic Alliance uniforms poured in, weapons raised. "Attention all personnel." A voice boomed over the speakers. "This facility is under military jurisdiction. Remain where you are." Evelyn pulled Zane and Aisha behind a stack of cargo containers. "Jules sold us out," she hissed. "What do we do?" Zane asked, trying to shield his sister. Evelyn's face was grim as she reached into her bag and pulled out a small silver cylinder. "Create a distraction." Before Zane could stop her, she pressed a button on the device and rolled it toward the line of fuel cells near the hangar entrance. The resulting explosion rocked the entire bay, sending soldiers scrambling for cover amid flames and smoke. "Run," she shouted. "To the ship." They sprinted across the hangar floor, dodging confused workers and debris. A soldier appeared through the smoke, weapon raised. Without hesitation, Evelyn tackled him, wresting the gun from his hands with surprising strength. She struck him with the butt of the weapon, then fired 2 shots at the control panel for the emergency exit, blasting it open. "Go," she ordered the siblings. "I'll hold them off." Zane hesitated. "We won't make it without you." Something changed in Evelyn's expression, a fierce determination replacing the clinical detachment. "Then we all go," she decided, firing several more shots to cover their retreat. They made it to a small maintenance vessel as alarms blared throughout the station. Evelyn's fingers flew over the controls, bypassing security protocols with practiced ease. "You know how to fly this thing?" Zane asked, strapping his sister into a seat. "I know how to do many things I wish I didn't." Evelyn replied grimly as the engines hummed to life. The ship lurched forward, scraping against the bay doors as they forced their way out. Behind them, the hangar erupted in secondary explosions as fire reached the main fuel reserves. As they cleared the station, Aisha screamed, clutching her head again. "They're in my head," she cried. "So many minds, all connected. They're looking for us." Zane held his sister as she convulsed. "What's happening to her?" Evelyn's face was ashen as she engaged the ship's FTL drive. "My creation," she whispered. "The military didn't just deploy it. They've networked it. Every implant connects to every other implant, creating a hive mind they can control. The stars blurred around them as they jumped to faster than light travel, but Evelyn's eyes remained fixed on Aisha. "And your sister," she continued, "is somehow tapped into their network." Admiral Cora Voss stood before the Galactic Alliance Security Council, her uniform immaculate, her posture rigid. The circular chamber was filled with representatives from 100 worlds, all watching her with varying degrees of concern. "The situation is under control," she assured them. The incident at Titan Colony was an isolated terrorist attack. Dr. Reyes has been radicalized by fringe elements opposed to our technological advancements. Chancellor Drazen, a tall man with ebony skin and penetrating eyes, leaned forward. Yet reports indicate that 15% of those with the new neural implants experienced seizures during the incident. Some died. Cora didn't flinch. Unfortunate casualties in our war against those who would keep humanity weak and divided. The Neural Enhancement Protocol will bring unprecedented unity to our species. "At what cost, Admiral?" asked Representative Ishtari from Europa. "We approved funding for medical research, not whatever this has become." "Progress requires sacrifice," Cora replied coldly. "The Thanatos strain that killed billions during the Red Plague years taught us that. We survived because we evolved. This is merely the next step." She activated a holographic display, showing a network of glowing nodes spreading across a map of the galaxy. The enhanced are already proving their worth. Their connected consciousness allows unprecedented coordination in our military operations. They can sense threats before they materialize. They can also sense a single woman and 2 refugee children, yet you fail to capture them, Chancellor Drazen observed dryly. Cora's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. Dr. Reyes knows how to hide. But the network is growing. Soon, there will be nowhere in the galaxy she can escape our reach. "And what will you do when you find her?" asked Representative Ishtari. "Justice will be served," Cora stated flatly. 877 lives were lost when she destroyed Helios 7. She must answer for that crime. As the council session ended, Commander Chen waited for Cora in the corridor. "Any news?" she asked quietly. "We've traced their stolen vessel to the Outer Rim," he reported. "It was abandoned on Persephone, a mining colony. Local enforcement is cooperating, but what?" Chen looked uncomfortable. "There have been reports of unusual behavior among the miners there. Many have the standard neural implants required for deep space work. They've started changing." Cora's eyes narrowed. "Explain." "Increased aggression, decreased empathy, acting in unison without verbal communication." He hesitated. "The same patterns we've been seeing in the early military test subjects of Project Lazarus." Reyes is tampering with the network, Cora realized. "Trying to turn our weapon against us. Or perhaps," Chen suggested carefully, "the weapon is flawed." Cora gave him a sharp look. "The doctor is a terrorist and a murderer, Commander. Remember that." As Chen walked away, Cora's communication device chimed. The caller used an encrypted channel known only to a select few. "Director Harlow," she acknowledged, stepping into a private alcove. The aristocratic face of Helix Biotech's director appeared. "Is the council satisfied with your explanation?" "For now," she replied. "But we need to find Reyes quickly. If she reveals what she knows about the true nature of Project Lazarus, then find her," Harlow snapped, "before she undermines everything we've worked toward. The collective awaits, Admiral. Humanity's future depends on it." As the transmission ended, Cora stared out at the stars visible through the station viewport. She remembered a younger Evelyn Reyes, brilliant and idealistic, working tirelessly to cure the plague that threatened to end humanity. "What happened to you, Evelyn?" she whispered. "What did you see that made you turn against us?" Part 3. The Resistance. The abandoned mining facility on Ceres was cold and dark, its corridors echoing with the forgotten sounds of industry. Deep within its maze-like structure, Evelyn had established a makeshift laboratory using salvaged equipment and her own ingenious adaptations. 3 months had passed since their escape from Titan. Zane watched from the doorway as Evelyn worked, her fingers moving deftly across holographic displays. Nearby, Aisha sat cross-legged on the floor, eyes closed, seemingly meditating. "Any progress?" he asked quietly. Evelyn glanced up, fatigue evident in the dark circles under her eyes. "Some. I've isolated the component of the neural enhancer that creates the hive mind effect. The military modified my original formula to include a nanotech transmitter that links all implanted individuals. Can you disable it?" "Not remotely. Each implant would need to be individually treated with the counteragent I'm developing." She gestured to a vial of luminescent blue liquid. "But that's not our biggest problem." Zane moved closer, studying the data streams. Over the months, he had learned to interpret much of Evelyn's research. "The degradation," he guessed. "It's accelerating." She nodded grimly. Phase 3 was deployed too soon. The neural enhancements work initially. Enhanced strength, perfect coordination between units, shared consciousness. But the brain isn't meant to be networked like a computer. It breaks down. What happens then? Aggression increases. Empathy vanishes. Eventually, total neural collapse. Evelyn's voice tightened. "They turned my cure into a plague worse than the one I stopped." Across the room, Aisha suddenly gasped, her eyes flying open. "They found us," she whispered. "A patrol ship just entered orbit. They're searching for the doctor." Zane rushed to his sister's side. "How many?" "A small crew. 6 minds, all connected." She shuddered. "They're like one entity with 6 bodies." "It feels wrong." Evelyn quickly began packing essential equipment. "We need to move. Now." "Where?" Zane demanded. "We've been running for months. The Alliance controls every major world." Evelyn paused, indecision written across her face. Finally, she said, "There's somewhere we can go. Someone who might help us. But it's risky. Riskier than staying here to be captured." "Much." She sealed her bag and faced him squarely. "I've been honest with you about many things, Zane, but not everything. The explosion at Helios 7, it wasn't an accident." The silence that followed her words was deafening. "You destroyed it," Zane said slowly. "Why?" "Because they were manufacturing the neural enhancer there, preparing to deploy it galaxy-wide." Her eyes held a haunted look. "I tried to destroy just the production facility, to buy time. The explosion wasn't supposed to spread to the residential areas." Zane stepped back, his expression hardening. "You killed all those people." "I tried to warn them," she said desperately. "I sent evacuation alerts, but someone overrode them. Someone wanted those deaths to happen, to turn me into the villain." Before Zane could respond, Aisha cried out again. "They're landing," she gasped. "Less than 2 kilometers from here. They can feel my connection to the network. They're following it like a beacon." The decision was made in an instant. "Get everything we need," Zane ordered. "We'll take the maintenance tunnels to the secondary landing pad where we hid the ship." As they moved through the dark corridors, Evelyn explained her plan. "There's a woman named Admiral Korivos. We worked together during the Red Plague. Before everything changed. She leads the hunt for me now, but she doesn't know the whole truth." "You think she'll help us?" Zane asked incredulously. "No," Evelyn admitted, "but she'll listen. She always believed in evidence. If I can show her what's really happening to the Enhanced, what Helix Biotech and the military leadership are planning." A crash echoed down the corridor behind them. Metallic footsteps followed, unnaturally synchronized. "Move," Zane whispered urgently. They ran through the maze of tunnels, Aisha leading the way through routes she somehow knew without being told, another side effect of her unwanted connection to the hive mind. They had almost reached the exit when a figure stepped out from an intersecting corridor, a woman in Alliance uniform, her movements fluid but somehow mechanical. Her eyes glowed faintly blue in the dim light, the telltale sign of an enhanced soldier. "Dr. Evelyn Reyes," she stated, voice eerily calm. "The collective requires your presence." Behind her, 5 more enhanced soldiers appeared, their weapons trained on the fugitives. "Surrender your research. It belongs to us. You belong to us." Evelyn stepped forward, placing herself between the soldiers and the siblings. "What's your name?" she asked the lead soldier. The question seemed to confuse her. "I am Unit 23A of Squadron 7. "No, your name." "Before they put that thing in your head." Something flickered across the woman's face, a ghost of individuality. "Sarah," she whispered. Then louder, as if fighting against something. "Sarah Chen." Commander Chen's sister, Evelyn realized. "Sarah, listen to me. The implant is killing you. The neural degradation." Silence. Sarah's voice changed, becoming a chorus of voices speaking in unison. "The collective does not tolerate sedition." All 6 soldiers raised their weapons in perfect synchronization. In that moment, Aisha stepped forward, her young face contorted with effort. "I can reach them," she gasped. "Through the network. I can show them." She stretched out her hands, and something invisible seemed to pass between her and the enhanced soldiers. They stiffened, their glowing eyes flickering as if experiencing a power surge. "Run!" Aisha screamed to Evelyn and Zane. "I can't hold them long." Zane grabbed his sister's arm. "Not without you." The soldiers began to convulse, fighting against whatever Aisha was doing to their shared consciousness. Sarah's face twisted in pain and confusion. "Go!" Sarah suddenly shouted, her voice her own again for a brief moment. "We can't fight it for long." Evelyn made a split-second decision. She thrust her bag into Zane's hands. "Take this. The blue vial contains the counteragent prototype. Find Admiral Voss on the Alliance flagship *Intrepid*. Show her what's in my research files." She looked at him intently. "The password is Second Chances." "What about you?" Zane demanded. "I'll help Aisha hold them off. We'll find another way out." Before he could protest, Evelyn pushed him toward the exit. "Go. This is bigger than any of us now." The last thing Zane saw as the door slid shut between them was Evelyn and Aisha standing side by side, facing the struggling enhanced soldiers who were gradually regaining control of themselves. As he ran toward the hidden ship, an explosion rocked the facility behind him. He didn't look back. Admiral Cora Voss sat alone in her quarters aboard the Intrepid*, reviewing classified reports from across the galaxy. The news was troubling. Enhanced units were showing increasing signs of instability. Some had gone rogue entirely, attacking their own comrades without warning or explanation. A chime at her door interrupted her thoughts. "Enter," she called. Commander Chen appeared, his uniform immaculate, but his expression troubled. "Admiral, we've intercepted a small vessel attempting to dock without authorization. The pilot claims to have information about Dr. Reyes." Cora was immediately alert. "Bring them to my ready room. Maximum security protocols." 20 minutes later, she found herself facing a young man who looked both exhausted and defiant. 2 armed guards flanked him. "Your name?" she demanded. "Zane Malik, refugee from Mars Colony." "And how do you know Dr. Reyes?" Zane studied her carefully before answering. "She saved my sister's life when no one else would. And now she's trying to save everyone else. By destroying research stations, by terrorism." Cora's voice was sharp. "By stopping the collective." Zane reached slowly into his jacket, causing the guards to raise their weapons. He froze, then carefully extracted a data chip. "She wanted you to see this, said you believe evidence." Cora hesitated, then took the chip. The password. Second Chances. Something flickered in Cora's eyes. Recognition, perhaps even emotion. She inserted the chip into her secure terminal and entered the password. Files appeared instantly. Research data, test results, and video logs recorded by Evelyn herself. Cora watched in growing horror as the truth unfolded before her. Phase 3 was never meant to create enhanced soldiers, Evelyn's recorded voice explained. The neural pathways it creates are designed to overcome individual will, to create a hive mind that can be controlled by whoever holds the master protocols. Director Harlow sold it to the military as the future of warfare, but it's actually the future of control. More evidence followed. Secret communications between Harlow and shadowy figures referred to only as the directors, plans for mass deployment of the implants to civilian populations under the guise of public health initiatives, and the ultimate goal, a connected human consciousness controlled by a select few. When the presentation ended, Cora sat in stunned silence. "Now do you understand?" Zane asked quietly. She didn't destroy Helios 7 to hide her work. She did it to stop this from happening. "If what she claims is true," Cora began. "It is," interrupted Commander Chen, who had been watching from the doorway. "My sister was among the first enhanced. She's changed, Admiral. And she's not the only one." Cora's communication device suddenly chimed with an emergency alert. The bridge officer's voice was tense. "Admiral, we're receiving distress calls from multiple Alliance outposts. Enhanced units have turned on regular personnel. They're slaughtering them." "Sir." "On screen," Cora ordered, moving to the main display. The footage was chaotic. Enhanced soldiers moving with terrifying coordination, attacking their former comrades with mechanical precision and inhuman strength. Their eyes glowed blue as they executed civilians and military personnel alike without emotion. "It's starting," Zane said grimly. The degradation Evelyn warned about. Loss of empathy, increased aggression, and someone's controlling them. Cora made her decision. "Commander Chen, lock down all enhanced personnel aboard this vessel immediately. Confine them to the medical bay under sedation." "And then?" Chen asked. Cora looked at Zane. "Then we find Dr. Reyes. Before it's too late." ## Part 4. The Ritzi Keoning. The underground facility on Europa was vast and sterile, its white corridors stretching endlessly beneath the moon's icy surface. In the central chamber, Director Harlow stood before a massive holographic display showing the spread of neural implants across the galaxy. Each point of light represented thousands of connected minds, a growing web of human consciousness under his control. "Beautiful, isn't it?" he remarked to the figure beside him. Humanity united at last, freed from the chaos of individual will. Dr. Sarah Chen, or what remained of her, nodded mechanically. Her eyes glowed blue, her movements precise and economical. Once Commander Chen's sister, now she served as Harlow's liaison to the collective. "The resistance vessel has been tracked to the Intrepid Asterisk," she reported, her voice a perfect monotone. "Admiral Voss has secured the enhanced personnel aboard her ship. She knows." Harlow seemed unconcerned. "It doesn't matter. We've reached critical mass. The collective is self-sustaining now." He gestured to another display showing the chaotic scenes unfolding across Alliance space. Enhanced soldiers seizing control of military installations, communication centers, and transportation hubs. "What about Dr. Reyes?" Sarah asked. "Ah, Evelyn." Something like regret crossed Harlow's face. "My greatest creation and my greatest disappointment." "Is she still alive?" "Unknown. The girl with her, Aisha Malik, has unusual resistance to full integration. She shields both herself and the doctor from our awareness." Harlow's expression hardened. "Find them. The doctor knows too much about the collective's vulnerabilities. And when we find them, bring Evelyn to me," Harlow ordered. "Kill the girl. Her ability to resist integration makes her dangerous." Sarah nodded and turned to leave, but Harlow called after her. "Sarah, your brother stands with Voss now. When the time comes, I expect you to deal with him as well." She paused only briefly. "The collective supersedes former attachments. It will be done." As she left, Harlow turned back to the holographic display. He manipulated the controls to show a specific subset of the enhanced, those exhibiting the most advanced neural degradation. Begin Phase 4, he commanded the system. Target all remaining Alliance leadership. Let the new era begin. The maintenance bay of the Intrepid had been hastily converted into a secure laboratory. Zane watched as Admiral Voss and the ship's medical team examined the blue vial Evelyn had entrusted to him. This counteragent could potentially disrupt the neural network, Dr. Patel, the chief medical officer, explained. But we'd need to administer it individually to each enhanced person. With millions already implanted, that's practically impossible. We need to find the source, Cora stated. The master control protocols that Evelyn mentioned in her files. If we can shut those down. The ship suddenly lurched violently, throwing everyone off balance. Emergency alarms blared. Bridge to Admiral Voss, came a panicked voice over the comm. We're under attack. Enhanced cruisers on all sides. They've somehow bypassed our security codes. Cora rushed to the nearest terminal. On screen, the display showed 5 Alliance battlecruisers surrounding the Intrepid all flagged as under enhanced control. Their weapons were primed and targeting the flagship's critical systems. How did they coordinate this? Commander Chen wondered aloud. Our position was classified. The collective knows everything the enhanced know, Zane reminded them grimly, including your command codes, ship positions, protocols. Admiral, Dr. Patil interrupted. The sedated enhanced personnel in Medical Bay have flatlined simultaneously. The implications hit everyone at once. The collective could sacrifice its units at will. They're not just connected, Cora realized. They're expendable. Pawns. A new transmission cut through the chaos, a face appearing on all screens throughout the ship. Director Harlow, his aristocratic features arranged in an expression of benevolent concern. Admiral Voss, he greeted her. You've chosen the wrong side of history. Harlow, Cora acknowledged coldly. I've seen Evelyn's evidence. This collective of yours isn't evolution, it's enslavement. Harlow shook his head sadly. Such limited vision. Humanity has always been enslaved to emotion, to instinct, to the illusion of individuality. We're offering true freedom by destroying minds, by turning people into puppets, Cora demanded. Some loss is inevitable in advancement, Harlow replied dismissively. Surrender the flagship, Admiral. Join us willingly, and your crew will be spared unnecessary suffering during integration. Before Cora could respond, another transmission broke through, splitting the screen. The image was grainy and distorted, but the face was unmistakable. Don't listen to him, Cora, said Evelyn Reyes, looking haggard but determined. He doesn't want evolution. He wants control. Evelyn. Harlow's composure slipped momentarily. Still alive, I see, and still interfering in matters beyond your understanding. I understand perfectly, Evelyn countered. I created the foundation of this technology. I know what it can do, and what you've perverted it into. Beside her, Aisha Malik appeared in the transmission, her young face showing strain but fierce determination. The collective isn't stable, Evelyn continued. The neural degradation is accelerating faster than even I predicted. You're creating a galaxy of mindless drones that will eventually collapse into violence and chaos. Harlow's face hardened. A necessary transitional phase. The directors have planned for this contingency. The directors? Cora questioned sharply. Evelyn's laugh was bitter. His true masters. Harlow is just another puppet, one who thinks he holds the strings. Enough, Harlow snapped. He turned his attention back to Cora. You have 5 minutes to surrender, Admiral. After that, we open fire. His transmission cut off, leaving only Evelyn on screen. Where are you? Cora asked urgently. Europa. Harlow's main facility is here, beneath the ice. It's where they control the collective. Evelyn looked grim. He doesn't know we're inside already. How? Zane demanded, moving closer to the screen. Aisha, Are you okay? His sister nodded. I'm managing, Zane. The counteragent Dr. Reyes gave me helps block most of the collective's influence. I can hear them, but they can't control me. We need to reach the master control hub, Evelyn explained quickly. I've developed a virus that can disrupt the entire network, but it has to be uploaded directly to the main system. It's suicide, Cora stated flatly. Even if you reach the control center, the enhanced will overwhelm you. Not if they're distracted elsewhere, Evelyn countered. The intrepid asterisk is their primary target now. While they focus on you, we can strike at their heart. Cora understood immediately. You want us to be the bait. I want you to be the warriors you trained to be, Evelyn corrected. Fight back, Cora. Show the galaxy that humanity's strength has always been our diversity, not our uniformity. Before Cora could respond, Commander Chen interrupted. Admiral, the enemy vessels are powering weapons. We have less than 2 minutes. Cora made her decision. Evelyn, do what you need to do. We'll keep them occupied. She turned to her crew. Battle stations. All hands prepare for combat. As the transmission ended, Cora's expression was resolute. Let's show these hive-minded bastards what free will can accomplish. Deep within the Europa facility, Evelyn and Aisha crept through maintenance tunnels, avoiding the patrols of enhanced guards. They had infiltrated the base using Aisha's unique ability to temporarily confuse nearby collective members, making the guards see what she wanted them to see. The control center should be 2 levels down, Evelyn whispered, consulting a stolen facility schematic. But security will be heaviest there. Aisha suddenly froze, her eyes widening. They know we're here, she gasped. Something changed, the collective's attention. It's like a spotlight sweeping through the facility. Harlow must suspect, Evelyn said grimly. We need to move faster. As they hurried forward, the facility's alarms suddenly blared to life. Red emergency lights bathed the corridors in an eerie glow. What's happening? Aisha asked. Evelyn checked a nearby terminal. The intrepid asterisk is engaged in battle. They're fighting back and winning. A hint of pride crossed her face. Cora always was a brilliant tactician. They reached a sealed doorway marked with high security warnings. Beyond it lay the central core of the facility, the heart of the collective. Can you get us in? Aisha asked. Evelyn produced a small device and attached it to the security panel. This will bypass the... She never finished the sentence. The door slid open from the inside, revealing Sarah Chen, her eyes glowing blue in the dim light. Dr. Reyes, she intoned, her voice eerily calm. The director expected you might come here. Behind her stood 6 more enhanced guards, their weapons trained on the intruders. Sarah, Evelyn said softly, I know you're still in there somewhere. The implant hasn't completely overwritten you yet. Something flickered in Sarah's expression. A momentary struggle. The individual is irrelevant. The collective is all. Is it? Evelyn challenged. Then why is your brother fighting against it? Why are millions of implanted people across the galaxy beginning to resist? Sarah's posture stiffened. Resistance is temporary. Neural degeneration ensures compliance. It ensures death, Evelyn corrected. Look at your own medical data, Sarah. You're dying. All of you are dying. Aisha stepped forward cautiously. I can show you, she offered, through the network. Before Sarah could respond, Aisha's expression intensified with concentration. The enhanced guards suddenly stiffened, their glowing eyes flickering as Aisha projected images directly into their shared consciousness. The truth about the neural degeneration, the planned obsolescence of the first generation of enhanced, the director's ultimate goals. Sarah gasped, clutching her head. No, they promised evolution, advancement. They lied, Evelyn said simply. Help us stop this, Sarah. For your brother, for yourself. The internal conflict was visible on Sarah's face, the collective fighting to maintain control, her true self struggling to emerge. Finally, with a cry of pain and determination, she straightened. "The control center," she said, her voice her own again, though strained with effort. "I'll take you there. But hurry. I can't fight them for long." Aboard the intrepid chaos reigned. The bridge was filled with smoke, consoles sparking from enemy fire. Admiral Cora Voss stood steady amidst the destruction, issuing commands with calm authority. "Evasive pattern Delta. Concentrate fire on their propulsion systems." The flagship spun and dove between its attackers, its weapons finding vulnerable points in the enemy vessels. 2 enhanced cruisers were already disabled, drifting helplessly in space. "Admiral," reported a tactical officer, "the Defiant and Resolute have arrived. Alliance reinforcements are engaging the enemy fleet." On the main view screen, fresh Alliance ships swarmed into the battle. Vessels commanded by captains who had heeded Cora's emergency warning about the collective threat. Commander Chen approached, his uniform torn and blood streaking his face from a head wound. "More ships are responding to our distress call." The enhanced didn't account for human unpredictability. "Or loyalty," Cora added. She opened a ship-wide channel. "All hands, this is Admiral Voss. Today we fight not just for ourselves, but for the future of human freedom. The enemy believes their connected consciousness makes them superior. We will show them that our diversity, our individual strengths, choices, and courage, is humanity's true advantage." A cheer went up throughout the ship, even as another blast rocked the vessel. "Admiral," Zane called from where he was helping tend to the wounded, "I'm receiving a transmission from Europa." "It's Aisha." Cora moved quickly to his position. The communication was fragmented, breaking up with static, but Aisha's voice came through clearly enough. "We've reached the control center," she reported. "Dr. Rice is uploading the virus, but Harlow has initiated some kind of purge protocol. The transmission cut out momentarily, willing to sacrifice most of the enhanced to protect the core collective." "What does that mean?" Cora demanded. When the signal returned, it was Evelyn's voice they heard. "He's triggering neural cascade failures in 90% of implanted individuals to preserve power for his elite units. Millions will die within hours unless we stop him." "How?" Cora asked urgently. "The counteragent," Evelyn replied. "It needs to be distributed galaxy-wide, immediately. It won't cure the implanted, but it will sever their connection to the collective, preventing the cascade failure." "That's impossible," Commander Chen protested. "We couldn't possibly reach that many people in time." "Yes, we can," Zane interjected suddenly. "Through their own network." Understanding dawned on Cora's face. "The implants themselves, if we can hijack the collective's communication system." "Exactly," Evelyn confirmed. "But we need access to the Alliance broadcast network. The counteragent formula needs to be transmitted on all frequencies, encoded in a signal the implants will recognize and implement automatically." "And Harlow?" Cora asked. Static overtook the transmission again. When it cleared, Evelyn's voice was grim. "Leave him to me." In the gleaming white control center beneath Europa's icy surface, Director Harlow watched with growing fury as his plans unraveled. Holographic displays showed Alliance forces regrouping across the galaxy, enhanced units faltering as the neural degradation accelerated. "Implement final protocol," he commanded sharply. "Sacrifice the outer network. Preserve the core." Around him, technicians, all enhanced, worked robotically to carry out his orders. On the main screen, red dots representing millions of implanted individuals began to blink out as their neural implants received the command to self-destruct, taking their host with them. "A necessary loss," Harlow murmured. "The directors will understand." "Will they?" Evelyn's voice came from behind him. Harlow turned to find Evelyn Rice standing in the doorway, Aisha and Sarah Chen beside her. His enhanced guards lay unconscious on the floor, victims of Aisha's unique ability to disrupt the collective consciousness. "You're too late," Harlow said calmly. "The purge has begun. The weak will fall to preserve the strong. Natural selection." Dr. Rice, something you once understood. This isn't evolution, Evelyn replied, moving toward the central console. It's massacre. Harlow drew a weapon smoothly from within his jacket. Stay where you are. I've come too far to be stopped now. Where are your directors now, Harlow? Evelyn asked. Or were they ever real? Did you invent them to justify your own megalomania? Something dangerous flashed in Harlow's eyes. They are visionaries. They saw humanity's potential while the rest of you wallowed in your precious individuality. They gave me the resources to create perfection. They used you, Evelyn said quietly, just as you used me. With unexpected speed for a man his age, Harlow lunged forward and grabbed Aisha, pressing his weapon against her temple. Step away from the console, Evelyn, or I'll kill the girl. Evelyn froze, her hand hovering over the controls. You won't, she said with surprising confidence, because she's the key to your next evolution, isn't she? You've been studying her resistance to the collective. She's not just a random anomaly. Her neural structure is uniquely adapted to interface with the network without being consumed by it. Harlow's expression confirmed her theory. Brilliant deduction, as always. The girl is special. A natural next step. Her abilities will be studied and replicated. Let her go, Evelyn demanded. Your enhanced troops are failing across the galaxy. The Alliance has regained control of the broadcast network. It's over. Harlow's grip on Aisha tightened. Nothing is over. I still control the core collective. I can rebuild. No, Marcus, came a new voice. You can't. A holographic figure materialized in the center of the room, a woman in her 70s, her bearing regal despite her age. Director Yao, Harlow gasped. I can explain. There is nothing to explain, the woman said coldly. The project has failed. The directors are displeased with your performance. Give me more time. The girl is the key to stability. The directors have voted. Your services are no longer required. Before anyone could react, Harlow clutched his chest in sudden pain. He released Aisha, staggering backward. What? What have you done? He gasped. Director Yao observed him dispassionately. Your neural implant was always a special model, Marcus, different from the others. Did you never wonder why you alone among the leadership would volunteer for enhancement? Harlow collapsed to his knees, his face contorting in agony. Goodbye, Marcus, Director Yao said simply. Her hologram turned to face Evelyn. Dr. Reyes, we will be watching your next move with great interest. The hologram vanished, leaving them in stunned silence as Harlow slumped to the floor dead. Evelyn wasted no time. She rushed to the central cons, old fingers flying across the controls. Aisha, I need you to help me access the primary network. Sarah, guard the door. Together, they worked feverishly, uploading the counteragent virus into the collective's main communication system. On the displays around them, the cascade of failing implants slowed, then stopped as the counteragent spread through the network, severing connections but preserving lives. It's working, Aisha breathed, watching as the system reported millions of implants going dormant rather than destructive. Evelyn's shoulders sagged with relief. The connection is broken. The collective is no more. But the implants remain, Sarah pointed out, her own eyes still faintly glowing. And the neural damage can be treated, Evelyn assured her. Not reversed completely, but stabilized. You won't die from it. Sarah nodded, accepting this. And the directors. Evelyn glanced at Harlow's body. Still out there. Still planning. But they've lost their weapon. She activated the communication system. Admiral Voss, can you hear me? Cora's voice came through clearly. We're here, Evelyn. The counteragent is spreading through the network. Reports are coming in from across Alliance space. Enhanced units are standing down, returning to individual consciousness. And casualties? Evelyn asked tensely. Significant, Cora admitted, but millions saved who would have been lost. You did it, Evelyn. We did it, Evelyn corrected, looking at Aisha and Sarah. All of us. What happens now? Zane's voice joined the transmission. Evelyn considered the question, looking around at the control center, the heart of what had nearly become humanity's undoing. Now, she said firmly, we rebuild, we heal, and we remember what we almost lost. Hashtag part 5e, AFT or mate. 6 months later, the observation deck of the newly commissioned research vessel Renaissance offered a spectacular view of Earth rising over the lunar horizon. Admiral Cora Voss stood at the viewport, hands clasped behind her back, watching the homeworld that had nearly fallen to an unprecedented threat. Behind her, the doors slid open. She didn't need to turn to know who had entered. Right on time. As always, she commented. Evelyn Reyes moved to stand beside her, gazing out at the blue planet below. The months had been kind to her. The haunted look had faded from her eyes, replaced by cautious optimism. Old habits, she replied with a small smile. How are the hearings progressing? Cora's expression tightened slightly. The Alliance Council has officially recognized the directors as a tangible threat. Their connections ran deeper than any of us imagined. Corporate boards, government positions, military leadership, and yet they remain elusive. For now, Cora turned to face her old colleague and newfound ally. Your testimony was crucial. Without it, we might still be hunting shadows. Evelyn nodded, acknowledging this, and the enhanced recovery continues. Dr. Patel's team has refined your counteragent. The neurological damage has been stabilized in 70% of cases. Cora's expression softened slightly. Sarah Chen has been particularly responsive to treatment. Her brother visits her daily. And the implants themselves, being removed where possible, deactivated where not. Cora gestured to a datapad on a nearby table. The Alliance Council has approved your proposal for the Neural Ethics Commission. No research involving neural modification will proceed without oversight from multiple independent bodies. Evelyn picked up the datapad, scanning the details of the commission she would soon lead. It's a start. More than that, Cora insisted. It's a fundamental change in how we approach human advancement. Your voice, your warning, is being heard. Before Evelyn could respond, the doors opened again. Zane and Aisha Malik entered, both wearing the uniforms of Alliance Medical Academy cadets. Aisha's face lit up when she saw Evelyn. Dr. Reyes, we weren't sure you'd make it back from Mars Colony in time for the ceremony. Evelyn smiled warmly at the siblings. I wouldn't miss it. Your acceptance to the Academy is something to celebrate, especially considering their unconventional application, Cora added with a rare smile. Not many cadets can list "helped save the galaxy" as prior experience. Zane's expression grew more serious. We've been monitoring the recovery efforts on Titan. Many of the refugees with implants are still struggling to readjust to individual consciousness. I know, Evelyn said. That's actually why I was on Mars. We're establishing a new treatment center there specifically for refugee cases. Aisha moved closer to the viewport, looking out at Earth. Sometimes I can still feel echoes of the collective, she admitted quietly. Not controlling me, just whispering. Remnants. Your connection was unique, Evelyn reminded her. Your brain formed pathways that others didn't. But those pathways are yours now. A gift rather than a burden, if you choose to see it that way. That's why I want to study neuroscience, Aisha said with determination. To understand what happened to me, to all of us. A chime sounded, signaling the approaching ceremony. As they prepared to leave, Cora held Evelyn back for a moment. The Alliance Council has officially cleared you of all charges related to Helios 7, she said quietly. The evidence proved Harlow orchestrated the enlarged blast radius and blocked the evacuation warnings. Evelyn's expression clouded. That doesn't bring back the people who died. No, Cora agreed. But it means your name, your legacy, is one of saving humanity, not destroying it. She hesitated, then added, The Ray's counteragent is already being taught in medical academies across the Alliance. A complex mixture of emotions crossed Evelyn's face. From healer to Havoc and back again, she murmured. Is that how you see it? Cora asked. Evelyn watched the Malik siblings walking ahead of them, young lives redirected from refugee status to positions where they could help others. I created something meant to heal that was turned into a weapon, she said finally. That will always be with me. But now, she straightened her shoulders. Now I have a second chance to ensure science serves humanity, not controls it. As they walked together toward the ceremony hall, the viewport behind them framed Earth in all its blue beauty, a planet of individuals whose strength lay not in forced unity, but in the magnificent complexity of billions of separate minds working, dreaming, and evolving together. Somewhere among those billions, the directors still plotted. The neural technology still existed. The temptation to control rather than cooperate would always beckon to those who sought power over others. But today, at least, humanity remained free to choose its own path forward. One mind, one decision at a time. ##, the Enand